Hello dear student, welcome to the 14th lecture of Thermoanalytical Methods. Myself Kanchan Vishramji Kumbhalkar, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry of Sri Shivaji College of Arts, Commerce and Science Akola. This is the overall syllabus of Unit 1 of Analytical Chemistry, that is Thermal Method of Analysis. The maximum syllabus has been completed, which is highlighted. In this lecture, we are going with the application and final summary about the DSC. Now, there are 2 points has been considered. First one is the DSC and second one is the DTA. Let's check out what is meant by DSC. We know that what is DSC, but this is a summary, that is DSC. What is meant by DSC? DSC is differential scanning calorimetry and DTA is differential thermal analysis. Both having the same exact application, but DSC is counted as a more authenticated and more advanced technique which gives a more accurate as well as the good result about the as a application. Now DSC differ with that of the DTA. First point, in DSC sample and the reference are heated. They are supplying a different heater. They are separated. They are heated separately. But in DTA, same, both sample as well as reference are putting in the same heater container. The temperature has been given to both sample as well as reference in both cases are exactly equal. But in DSC, the heaters or the chambers for the heating purpose is different, but in a DTA it is the same chamber for that of the sample as well as reference compound. Next one, in DSC there is a delta H has been most important aspect. What is delta H? Delta H is nothing but a difference in heat or difference in energy. Suppose at a particular temperature, if reaction is not occurred in a sample, then the intake of heat to the sample as well as reference is exactly equal. There is no difference in temperature. But if at a particular temperature some reaction occurred, then in that stage the sample showing the reaction, and if there is a reaction occurred, either there is an endothermic reaction or exothermic reaction, on the basis of which the demand of heating power has been either reduces or increases, on the basis of which the heat supply to the sample and reference is get differed, and that has been counted as the sense of delta H. Now we are putting on y-axis, that is delta H upon delta T value, and on a x-axis we are putting a temperature in a Kelvin sense, and this graph is nothing but a DSC curve or DSC graph. But in a DTA we are just putting a delta T, that is difference in temperature of reference and sample. The basic principle is same. If the reaction occurred, then the demand of temperature is differ in sample and reference compound, and that has been calculated. But in a DSC we are measuring a delta H as a main aspect, and in DTA we are measuring just a delta T. Hence, as compared to DTA, DSC is counted as a much more authenticated and more accurate result oriented applications. Now, this is all about the DSC and DTA differentiation, but on the basis of application, the DTA applications are exactly eligible for that of the DSC. DSC applications of DSC is exactly equal to the DTA, but in a more accurate and authenticated form. The advantage lies in the small size of the sample to be used. Obviously, we deals with that of the factor affecting the sample on a curve. In this point, we deals with that the smallest size of sample gives a different type of curve. The sample size as well as the pattern of sample affect the curve of DSC, and the result has been get fluctuated. This technique has found many application in industry as well. DSC essentially studied the same thermal phenomena as DTA. The thermal phenomena which has been checking in DTA as well as DSC is exactly same, but the principle is somewhat different. Thus, DTA and DSC provide very much the same information and their applications are exactly similar. So, if you want to get a total applications of DTA in thoroughly, you must check out the lecture on a DTA application. In this lecture, we are just going through a short applications in the sense of DSC. So, what are the application? First application is the quantitative estimation of substances. This is the application of DTA. These all application, those I am going to discuss, that is already discussed in a DTA chapter, DTA point. So you can take a look on that also. So DTA application, in this case the DSC application. The first application is a quantitative estimation of substances. There is one equation has been given, that is A is equal to minus gm delta H upon K, where A is considered as the peak area which can be observed by DSC curve, because we are talking about the application of DSC. Hence, in this case, the application of DSC indicate that the peak area of DSC curve, G is nothing but a calibration factor, M is the mass, delta H is a change in heat or energy, and K is the constant. So on the behalf of peak area, you can carry out a final result, or you can apply the quantitative estimation of that of the substance. You can quantitatively estimate the substance. Next one is the application. Second application is study of inorganic substances. This application is very much important because the silicates, ferrites, clays, oxides, ceramics and glasses can be very efficiently studied by the DSC curve, as similar like that of the DTA curve. Next one, because we know that there are different two types of bulges, exothermic and endothermic, on the behalf of which we can predict that what kind of reaction has been occurred in that particular substance, that is dehydration, oxidation, fusion, reduction, adsorption or solid state reaction, etc. That can be indicated by just knowing the DSC curve also. Next one, the most important thing is that you can identify, because there is a phase changes can be identified. So on the behalf of this, the construction of phase diagram can be put by on the basis of DSC curve. Next application is study of organic compound. In organic compound, you can identify a sharp melting point and boiling point, as well as the decomposition point of a compound, because of DSC is give a much more accurate as compared to DTA. So this is more authenticated for that of the melting point, boiling point and decomposition point. And the last application is the study of polymers. Polymers can be studied, they can be identified what kind of polymers are there, that can be identified with that of the DSC. So these are the four different application which are the similar exact like that of the DTA. So if you want to check out in a detail, so you must check the previous lectures. So reference back to the section on the application of DTA will sufficient to indicate the scope of DSC. Some differences in the quality of the information obtained sometimes exist, however. So we know that DSC is much more accurate as compared to the DTA, so the good quality of result can be expected in a DSC. So leading to the preference for one technique over the other for particular purposes. Now next and the last point of that of the DSC is its summary, what we learn from that of the DSC. So basic principle is that sample and an inert reference heated separately with the power supplied to the sample heater, variable so that the temperature difference can be maintained at a 0. We must maintain a delta T is equal to 0, like a NMR. When we are counting a NMR, in previous lecture also I give the same example, that is when we are considering shielding and deshielding, either we increase a power if there is a supply of induced magnetic field. In this case, either it is get reinforces or it get opposes. On the behalf of this, energy of the proton can be get shifted either in a deshielding or either in a shielding. So exactly similar conditions has been considered here to maintain a delta T is equal to 0 for that of the reference as well as sample. The intake of heat from that of the heater either increases or decreases, and that is nothing but a basic principle of that of the DSC. So sample and an inert reference heated separately with the power supply to the sample heater variable so that the temperature difference can be maintained at a 0, that is delta T is equal to 0, even when endothermic or exothermic changes occur. The difference in power supply to the two heater is monitored as the analytical signals, that is delta E. So the delta H is pronouncedly indicated or pronouncedly represented by sense of delta E. So delta H is nothing but measure in the sense of delta E. Now instrumentation: sample and reference crucible with a separate heater, thermocouples with the feedback to the sample heater so that the power is varied to maintain a delta T is equal to 0. The data output equipment to provide a delta E versus the temperature, that is delta H upon delta T, is nothing but counted as a delta E versus temperature. This is the curve, which derivative curve and peak integration and facility to vary atmosphere of the sample. This is the main point, that is atmosphere can be get varied as per the requirement. And the last one, that is application. The widespread study of thermal properties on an extensive range of sample types, qualitative and quantitative analysis done. A relative precision is very variable at best, that is of 1%, but can be much poorer. But the disadvantage is usually limited to the small sample size. The compound or the sample which is having a large size, they are not suitable as a sample for that of the DSC. Thermograms are often complex and thus difficult to interpret fully. We know that in NMR, if it is we are considering the multiplet, in that case we cannot identify what are the total amount of signals. Like that, the thermogram of DSC is considered as compared to the DTA much more complex and hence cannot be interpreted fully. So this is the advantage, one and the only second advantage. First one is the small size sample must be required, and second one is the complex thermogram which is not exactly interpreted. So this is all about the DSC. In next lecture we will start with the new point, that is thermometric titration. Up to then, take care, be safe, stay safe. Thank you very much.